Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. It's Wednesday, yeah? It's a very special one. Yeah. 18th of
April. So
April.
yes. Wow.
Yes. So soon. I mean, and it's the birthday of Liz Lorna Finn Walker.
Yes.
Okay. Charlie,
I wonder if she's awake by now.
No, she's awake.
I hope she's watching.
No, she wakes up at 5:30 a.m. to read and
do school stuff.
Yeah. So
well,
she
most young
mental
kids, I
home.
think, wake up around this time.
Most
young
oh yeah.
But if you don't wake
up,
they
get up very early.
No, because you have to go to school.
Around 4 o'clock, some of them are up already.
Yeah, because of the long distances they have to travel to school.
You know, yesterday I decided to use the trotro, and it took close to 1 hour to get from here to North Kaneshie.
Wow.
The traffic?
The traffic.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, the man hours spent in traffic alone, to and from work, the stress and everything else, inhaling fumes and everything. That's what's making everybody sick.
No, someone got to work on that. I think our city, our road engineers will need to just go get stationed at what we used to call Silver Cap, now Paloma, for a whole day and see how they can free the traffic. Because when you go past that traffic light, it's free. A freeway.
It's free.
And so it gets choked between that end and then GBC here.
Yes, the Prudential Bank.
And I don't know why, I don't know what has to be done.
I think it's pretty much the trotros park right in the middle of the road, narrowing the road and making it a single lane as opposed to the double lane around the Nima area. But when you go past up to like Paloma, you see,
there's no traffic.
Free.
Yeah, it's very free.
I'm not kidding you. Look, when we left, we went through the Prudential Bank area and then snail paced all the way to Nima Junction.
They need to go
all the way.
And that's not
from GBC to Nima Junction, especially in the afternoon, it's terrible. And you keep wondering, but the moment you pass by Nima Junction, go a bit
you're gone.
That's
you're
it.
Gone.
You're just wondering
to go
1 hour of my life wasted.
I also
on
suspect that before that traffic light, before you hit the interchange, was fixed there. The road coming in was not a one-way, so that when you get there, you could go right through Societe Generale and get off into the Fanufa area. So it's a one-way now. You meet the first traffic light at Paloma. There's a second one, and then there's a third one. So maybe the traffic lights
one has been disabled. The one by the gutter, the
Total station,
the Total station
disabled.
But just after that, there's one which you stop and then some would have to come and cross you to the left side.
And even before that, the one at Nima Junction is also active.
Yes.
So there's one at Nima Junction.
I don't know how they can.
Then you come towards Paloma. Then you go towards the SGSSB building. I think it's 1 hour.
That brings me to mind the fact whether the engineering issue, because you remember on the Achimota Road heading towards Nsawam, that used to be not a one-way as well. You could turn left around the Melcombe area, you could go straight. But now because it's a one-way, you go all the way up until Mile 7 roundabout and turn. And so there's so much traffic, whereas maybe you're just coming to about Melcombe. So the other route is to use the Aquitaman route, which is bad. And so there's more traffic. And I don't know whether the engineers really look at these things, because I have an issue. And you know, now pedestrians have to walk all the way. Let's say if you stop at New Plan, and you're going in between New Plan and Mile 7, you'd have to walk all the way and then use the footbridge, which is quite a lengthy walk. And so sometimes where they place these, footbridges, where they place the traffic lights, where they place the U-turns that they've disabled, I wonder whether they really consider the number of people who use these kind of roads.
Yesterday, if I spent 1 hour traveling from here to North Kaneshie, I'm imagining those who are traveling from Kanda to Kaswa.
Yes.
Those who are going from Kanda to McCarthy
and
Wager. Those who are going from here, and you see the Teshi Peshi area to is another traffic hub. Those who are leaving here to Spintex,
Sakumono and the rest.
Charlie, traffic.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke.
Look, if somebody spends elsewhere, people work for 4 or 5 hours at a place, they collect their money, they move to other places and work. So if I spend 3 or 4 hours in traffic, I'm being unproductive.
Pretty much every single day spending about 6 hours in traffic.
Everybody in authority.
And
traffic.
But I think that the unfortunate part is we get used to these things. It's not supposed to be something we have to get used to. But you get used to it and you find ways around.
Yesterday when I sat in the trotro and it was taking forever, I'm like, trotro, somebody gets there and look at me like, hello, where did you come from?
Our brothers who live on the Adentan Ayi Mensa Fanko stretch, as for them, traffic has become like a friend. I mean, they're always...
But you see, it's the same issue right up until Medina, the Zongo Junction area.
Is free.
When you go past it, you realize it's truckers who have occupied the road. Then it becomes a single lane. When you get to Red Coat Junction, a similar thing. But beyond that, it seems to flow.
As for that area, I blame the Medina MTTD. Right. The Medina MTTD there, because in fact, 2 lanes of the road are actually taken over by tow trucks and then commercial activities. And they look, sometimes you see them, they are standing there directing traffic, and the road is
I think that they should do what has been done under the Kaneshi footbridge, between those 2 footbridges. Right. Block one end for the truckers so you can restrict them on which lane to use. And then you can have the 2 running smoothly all the way to Obeche-Bilanti. So there's no obstruction. I mean, they enter at a point, they end, they drop off people, and because also they will just stop right in the heart of the street.
Which they do.
Even with that, I saw them, some churches remove the roadblocks and occupy the road.
That's what they do.
So you see, this is because we've allowed it to happen. But when you punish them, you clamp the car and you make them pay a fine, maybe that will stop. But Solis has all the news for us.
Indeed, I have all the news from the world of business. We're looking at health as well as some news from the educational sector right here. Good morning. Welcome to Morning News on TV3. I am Solis Rose Gorte. Now to the details. And President Akufo-Addo wants investors in the United Kingdom to consider Ghana as a credible and safe place to invest in as government makes strides in improving the business environment. Now, the president was delivering a keynote address at the 2nd edition of the UK-Ghana Investment Summit on the sidelines of the ongoing Commonwealth meeting in the United Kingdom.
President Akufo-Addo assured investors the rule of law in Ghana is not a slogan, but an operating principle of state development. Ghana, the president added, wants to participate in the global marketplace not on the basis of export of raw materials, but on the basis of its products.
We've never wavered in our belief that given an enabling environment, the ingenuity, creativity, and sense of enterprise of the Ghanaian will enable us rapidly to develop a strong, powerful economy which will deliver a good, dignified standard of living to our people.
President Akufo-Addo said his government is of the firm conviction that the role of the private sector in the development of the national economy is crucial. The president said his administration, in 15 months, has put in place measures required to reduce the cost of doing business and improve the business environment in Ghana.
Ghana is a haven of peace, security, and stability. A country where the principles of democratic accountability are now firmly entrenched in its body politic, and where the separation of powers is real to promote accountable governance. We're keen on establishing a business-friendly economy to attract foreign direct investments, to exploit our country's great potential on mutually satisfactory terms. Investments are protected in fact and in law.
The summit, organized by the UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, was aimed at improving trade between the two countries.
Now, former appointees of the Mahama administration accused of taking double salary are being investigated for stealing. Now, 3 of them on Tuesday appeared before the Criminal Investigation Department of the Police Service and had their caution statements taken. Evelyn Tingma has the details.
MP for Tamale Central, Inusa Fuseni, MP for Adan, Comfort Doyo Gansa, and MP for Isunafo South, Eric Opoku, were at the CID headquarters, having been invited by the Criminal Investigations Department. They were accompanied by their legal team. After minutes of engagement with the police, the MPs said they were being investigated for stealing, even though they had not been presented with any evidence for them to substantiate the allegation.
I have been interviewed and also asked to write a caution statement. What they are investigating me for is stealing. And obviously, I have not stolen from anybody.
MP for Tamale Central and former Minister for Roads and Highways, Inusa Fuseni, added the police failed to tell them who the complainant is, claiming the move is a calculated attempt to dampen their spirit.
I wish to assure our constituents and the Ghanaian public that we will continue to hold government accountable, no matter what the consequences will be. We appreciate that these are occupational hazards and we have to go through them.
So are you to report back?
Well, I'm to report back on the 14th of May at 9 o'clock, and I will ensure that I report back.
MP for Adan and former Minister of State at the Presidency in charge of social and allied institutions, Comfort Doyo Gansa, insisted they did not receive double salary.
They have good auditors at the finance. If I owe the state, they will even write first to alert you that you owe the state. And if they have not done that, they can't do that too on a quiet without our knowledge.
A member of the legal team, Victor Kojoga Adawudu, described the allegation as ridiculous and legally without merit.
Article 71 is clear. Every MP and a minister who works does not take salary until the committee determines that salary. I would be happy to know, as we speak now, those who are MPs and ministers within the NPP, how much is their salary? The president should tell us who has determined his salary. The Speaker of Parliament and the leadership should tell us what is the salary.
Meanwhile, the minority leader Haruna Idrisu, speaking off camera, said he has set up a committee to take all the accused MPs' bank statements and investigate and report back to him, after which he will respond to it.
Now, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has demolished a slum at East Legon in Accra, popularly called Atemuda. Drinking spots and shops were pulled down after city authorities declared the area a den of criminal activities, including prostitution.
Atemuda literally means Judgment Day. The name appears to suggest doom for the slum noted for criminal activities. An eviction notice by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly gave residents and shop owners up to October 11, 2017, but that directive was clearly ignored. At about midday on Tuesday, a task force made up of a team of police personnel from the Accra Regional Police Command and Accra Metropolitan Assembly swooped on the community to demolish structures on the stretch. City officials say the exercise has become necessary because the area has become a focal point for prostitutes in the evenings.
Please say there are a lot of prostitutes here. Is it true?
That one there I don't know because I don't work in the night, so I don't know. There's no job, so now I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Shop owners and attendants hurriedly tried salvaging their goods. Chief Technical Officer of the Ayawaso West Municipal, Augustine Okine, said the assembly had received incessant complaints from residents and had to act.
People in the area have been complaining a lot that the kind of activities going on here is not helping. And they've threatened even not to pay property rates.
Operations Commander of the Accra Regional Police Command, Chief Superintendent Kwesi Fori, says occupants were posing constant risk to residents.
Particular area have been rallying point for suspected criminals, prostitution, and what have you. And let us not forget that it is a residential area where families, people, and their children live. And it is not a good example for our society.
The AMA and the Accra Regional Police Task Force have vowed to rid Accra of criminals.
And now to the educational sector, where the University of Ghana says it is awaiting the outcome of police investigations into the dawn attack at the Mensa Sabah Hall to determine the next line of action. Violent clashes on Monday between students of Unity Hall of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi and their counterparts from the Commonwealth Hall of the University of Ghana left one person injured.
In what was described as a reprisal attack, the Mensa Sabah Hall of the University of Ghana was raided at about 1 a.m. on Tuesday. The glass doors to the hall were smashed, and so was a flat-screen television at the hall. The hall porters confirmed the attack but said nothing was stolen. Earlier, on Monday, there were clashes between residents of Unity Hall from the University of Science and Technology and residents of the Mensa Sabah Hall on one hand against residents from the Commonwealth Hall of the University of Ghana. The students from the KNUST were at the University of Ghana to participate in a debate when the violent clashes broke out. The police picked up 10 people but later freed some of them for lack of evidence. One person was also injured in the attack but has since been discharged from the hospital. Public Affairs Director of the University of Ghana, Stella Amoa, says management will wait for the outcome of the police investigation in order to determine the appropriate sanctions for the perpetrators.
Just to confirm that this incident took place yesterday, campus security were called in and they moved in to quell the clashes and also received reinforcement from the Ghana police. So I would caution any student who has any intention of continuing with these clashes to be very careful about any acts of violations because they will be dealt with.
The debate has since been cancelled.
While prices of petroleum products have gone up by 2.5% at some filling stations across the country. Now, the new prices follow a release of the second pricing window for April by the Institute of Energy Security, which predicted a 2 to 3% increment.
Our checks at various pumps revealed that customers have to pay an increment of at least 2 pesos per litre for various products at the pump. At the Nima Goel filling station, the price of super, which was 4 Ghana cedis 51 pesos per litre, is now 4 Ghana cedis 55 pesos per litre. Diesel was 4 Ghana cedis 49 pesos per litre, and it's now 4 Ghana cedis 54 pesos per litre.
Affected a change since 11th of this month. We understand what is going on in the system, the downstream system, about the regulation. When the prices go down, the OMCs will reduce it and it goes up.
Managers at some branches of Total and Glory Oil, who spoke off camera, said prices at their pumps remain same since they are yet to receive any directive from their head office.
We heard it from the news that there have been a 2.5% increment, and we had 2% last week. The government promised to reduce this thing drastically. And look at what we are seeing. So we are fed up with all those things.
Yeah, I've noticed, but I was thinking maybe I got cheated by the guy who filled my tank. Because the usual gauge I used to get when I buy a particular amount, I didn't get that. So I wasn't sure, but I don't know anything about that, if they've changed it or not. But then I know there's a change in the fuel price.
So which station was this at?
It was on the Adenta Medina Road.
Have you experienced the same thing at other stations?
Not quite sure.
Some clients at the pumps expressed their dismay at the increment. Other clients, however, said that they had not noticed any changes in prices so far.
I've heard about increment in fuel, but I am not aware of how much has been increased or decreased. I've never taken upon myself to find out how much is increased or how much is decreased. I moved to the pump, I just watch the reader or the meter you call it, and whatever is put into my car, I move with it because it's something I don't have control over.
I'm not sure I've noticed any change. What I do is I know I'm buying this amount and that's all, and I check if my gauge is coming down and then I just top it up. If you have to put the fuel increment behind your mind, it's the whole headache. So I don't think about those things.
Okay. And now to some issues from the health sector, where the Ghana Physician Assistants Association has called off its national strike action following a 20,000 Ghana cedi bill granted to their member Simon Takraman in the case of the death of 4 persons at the Saintchi Health Center in the eastern region. The association has meanwhile asked government and the Ghana Health Service to quickly address their concerns. A report by Yvonne Nikwe.
The Koforidua High Court granted bail application to the defense after initial refusal by the Somaya Circuit Court. Members of the two bodies, Ghana Physician Assistants.
All right, don't forget that we're live on DSTV channel 279 and also interactive on our various social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram. Let's do some other stories. And Zenith Bank Ghana, through retained earnings, has raised the 400 million cedis new minimum capital requirements set by the Bank of Ghana. Now, commercial banks have up to the end of December this year to recapitalize. Those unable to meet the deadline to face a possible loss of their banking license.
The paid-up capital for the bank increased to a figure of 400 million Ghana cedi, in keeping with the requirement of the Bank of Ghana. We as Zenith Bank, given the privileged position we had with a very robust income surplus, decided to take the option of recapitalizing our retained earnings. Our capital has been increased to about 400 million Ghana cedi, and still giving us some quite substantial figures in our retained earnings. Our shareholders and our board, who over the years had ensured that the bank was run in a viable and very profitable way, and that the bank will run grounded on strong corporate governance and with very good risk management systems in place. And the combination of all that is that the bank has been profitable all over the years, and we have also had very, very little impairments to reduce our capital. And also the shareholders had always demonstrated a long-term strategic and proprietary interest in this market. And for that, from inception, the shareholders operated a dividend policy where 100% of our earnings were retained in the business. And that kind of policy gave us a lot of size, balance sheet to play in the market to support government and support the private sector in the developmental agenda of Ghana. We play in all the industries, but the SME is key for this market. An industry where if we need to grow this market, grow this economy, every bank has to focus on that. So we intend to play a lot more on the SMEs and in the manufacturing sector, the corporate sector. And of course, the corporate sector, usually their appetite are much larger. Your SMEs, their appetite is quite small and all that. So for the big balance sheet that we have and to deploy them efficiently, we'll look at going forward, playing significantly on the corporate and with the multinationals who will be able to, who have the higher tickets and the big tickets to fund. Then we're also looking at doing a lot of transactions around treasury to support our balance sheet.
Well, that's all for news this morning on TV3. You can always log on to our website, www.3news.com, for more news updates. Also tune in to our subsequent bulletins for some more details. My name is Solis Rose Quarter. New Day continues after this. Don't go away.
Welcome back. So let's do newspaper headlines now. Let's start off with some interesting stories carried by The Finder. It says, Ghana is a haven to invest in. President Akufo-Addo tells UK investors Also, the Minister of Aviation, Mrs. Cecilia Dapa, says information sharing is critical to aviation security. Then save GWCL from tertiary desalination plants burden that's coming from a group. Then World Bank Lords Akufo-Addo and Adwoa suffer over policies to cater for the marginalized. And then finally, Temari calls over 500% increase in adolescent HIV infection.
I thought that the tertiary desalination project, would have been settled at this point, because I remember I had a conversation with Honorable Afenimaki, who's the board chair for Ghana Water Company, and we're talking about the significance of that particular project to the people of that area, how issues of cholera and the rest arrive when they don't have water to use. So I don't know where this back and forth. I thought that going back to the table would actually bring some finality, but it doesn't seem like the end is near. And I'm beginning to get very worried.
I think so.
I'm beginning to get very worried about it.
I mean, it's mainly money matters, and I'm wondering why the government wouldn't step into this to try and solve issues for them, because over many years, Teshi and Nungwa hasn't had potable water. And if this project was going to help them to, like you said, take away the medical issues that come with it, the health implications and all that, you would have thought it would be a good thing. But we see it in the newspaper back and forth. Nothing seems to be done. They talk about it, and I don't know.
I think the Ghana Water Company's problem was that the Picona agreement, they were losing out in terms of production. So it then behoved on government to decide that it wanted to subsidize it, because the greater good of the project was to get the people water. So now that it's been truncated and it's not functioning, what happens to it? Because per the agreement, Ghana Water Company was supposed to take care of even the electricity bill, how to treat the water, and the subsequent distribution. Their argument was that they spend so much in doing these things, and then they will do the distribution at a very cheap rate. But hey, I mean, you can't win, or sometimes you win, you lose. I mean, the greater good of the people.
But if we had the one to lose, because ultimately Ghanaians are government. I mean, we make them up, and obviously, if there are taxpayers amongst these people, then there are some monies within government that could be used to, alleviate the problem. Because really, the expenditure, let's read from it. It says on GWCL for producing water for each month was 11 million Ghana cedis, as against a revenue of 2 million Ghana cedis, which puts the company in a monthly revenue deficit of 9 million Ghana cedis. No company wants to run this amount of loss.
To the extent that Ghana Water Company is supposed to be providing water for everybody. They enjoy monopoly, first of all. Number two, if we had the regular water pipe, the line running through, we won't have this problem. Let's get to understand that the desalination project is sited at one spot, and the people go there to get the water. The part of Ghana Water Company's mandate is to make sure that water is connected to homes. So if this one is costing them so much money, perhaps they need to start then looking at how to make sure that water comes from their plant or their pumps directly into the people's homes, which is the ideal thing. Until we solve that particular problem, we will have to contend with this. The people need water. Water is life.
Right. Just a few questions to add to this now. The story is suggesting that Ghana Water says that it is putting in 11 million cedis and just getting 2 million revenue. This is only for the tertiary plant. Is it to suggest that Ghana Water is able to turn over with other plants? These are questions that I want to ask, because the shutting down of the plant is based on the fact that the company says that we're putting in so much, and yet we're not getting what we put in. And I am asking that the other plants that we have, that is 7, Accra East, other plants in the western region, in the eastern region, is Ghana Water able to turn around the investment it puts in? If it is able to, then of course, then there's a problem with this one. But if it is not, and generally there's a problem with Ghana Water's ability to get revenue from its production, then we need to take
Senior Bright, I'm saying that the folks in the central region, they also have perennial shortages. And thankfully, you were a student at central region. They have also called for a similar project like this. Now, and my argument has always been that the Ghana Water Company, the pipe at the police headquarters, right in the gutter, it's been best for God knows how long. There's one by the Kanda Estate Cluster, which is gushing water, and many places around the world. Go to Nima. these are resources that are being wasted away, and the Ghana Water Company is supposed to be salvaging this. When the image or impression is then created as if we are spending money and not getting money, it beats my imagination. Even government is trying to plug the wasteful ends. So why not Ghana Water Company? Why not ECG? Why not the illegal connections? Why can't we deal with them? I mean, because then they will run to PURC every time and tell them to increase the tariffs because they are not making how much they are investing. But then block the leakages. That's all.
Let's see what they will do. But that story on the Finder's story, the banner story is quite interesting. Ghana is a haven to invest in. I'm all for it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with our leaders going out there to woo investors. But you see, for a very long period in our development efforts, I think that we have failed to recognize that we can push up our local small businesses and make them big. Okay, so that, well, we'll go and ask them to come, but our local businesses here can be supported to grow and become giant companies. The investors we're asking to come to Ghana did not start the way we're seeing them today. They started also from a small position and have grown. What we do here is that we don't grow our businesses. The environment is not good. There is some political influence on even how businesses here grow. You take a look back at 92, you see people who are into business, okay? And then when there's a change of government, one business goes down, then, and so there's always a problem, and we keep going to them. And when they come in, we give them all kinds of tax rebates. Some come and work for 10 years, they don't pay their taxes, they carry their funds away. And we are at the receiving end. From Mr. Rawlings to Nana Akufo-Addo, we have been asking investors to come in, and yet we are where we are. Let's turn attention to our local small businesses. Let's support them to grow. Well, then
I agree when Bai says that, because, you know, as you're asking investors to come in, of course, it's to improve a certain aspect of your economy. And at the end, it's also supposed to become a vicious cycle to help the local businesses also thrive. But here it is, you're crippling the local businesses, but you're asking investors to keep coming, pumping in their monies into your economy. But again, it goes into individual pockets. And then, so even though they come, which they would always do because they see the opportunity there, so they don't even need you to come and tell them. They do know the opportunity there. But at the time when they're coming in, it's supposed to benefit the economy as a whole. But when it benefits only certain individuals, then you're stifling the economy.
I always remember the late KB Asante, who said that, look, let's bring in the investors, but then let's tax them decently. What we do, I mean, even for local guys to access loans in this country is so appalling. The stress they have to go through. And guess what? The Free Zones Board and the GIPC, they know that there are blacks who front for white companies and they miss they dodge some of their taxes. They allow it to go on. So the point is, how encouraged are our own entrepreneurs to make sure that these things are properly done? On that note, let's say happy birthday to this lovely damsel. She's the daughter of an entrepreneur who has not received so much support from people.
Oh, no, Johnny, as for this district chief farmer, she has received.
This is Liz Lorna Finn Walker. The name is very nice.
We'll delve into the name later. She's
a daughter of a district chief farmer, an award winner.
Oh, is she? Is she the?
She's giving you style.
She's doing like the mother. So
the last time I met her, she was carrying a pick at the bucket of a pickup on the end.
But I hear Bright owes this young lady ice cream since 5 years ago.
Bright
today he definitely
never fulfills his promises.
But guys, it's time for us to rant, and we're talking about the Commonwealth and Unity Hall clashes that have been ongoing. This seems to be a recurring event, but this time it's taking a notch higher, where people have threatened a young man with a machete, and it's recorded. And we realize that that is a disturbing, growing issue in the country, and we have to talk about it at this point. But we step out on the streets to see what you think about it as we discuss this. Let's see.
students of the Commonwealth Hall of the University of Ghana and Katanga Hall of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology clashed on Monday. The clashes left one person injured and 10 others picked up by the police. And mind you, this is not the first time a clash of this sort has emanated, as there exists this long-standing rivalry between these halls. And the questions that bother the mind are: is there an end in sight to these tertiary clashes? And is radicalism the only way to demonstrate affiliation? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
You know, they shock me. But then I really know they expect, say, let's say the time we were in school, then things change. Or like the time we did school, then we feel say we young now, we grow, so we know they expect say things like this still will come up. But then come to think of it, before talk say you know be good at. I be tech boy, I go tech, so I be friends to Katanga.
But you do some before?
No. Me God try, you know, make I go Katanga. As I finish Pope John, I make I go mix hall. So you God try what?
So is that some spirit day Katanga? So if you did that, go make you be radical.
Not some spirit per se. It's life. You know, just as sometimes we take it, sometimes we take and go extreme.
Okay.
But it just be school life. But say you just forget limits.
But the thing is, it be school life. It be school life.
That means you justify with that.
I know the justify, but it be school life. You see, the thing is, you go SHSF, you go then times you go in Takwe, they happen for them.
That be where it started.
But just then say tech. Time I take the ATTC. We dey fight every day. It be school life.
No, but this one they hurt. Well, you see, sometimes we see make a
SS people they hurt long time. Me, I work here, then ship me before. I don't talk.
See,
what you go do?
As we there for
then ship me before.
We go Intercom. Then they produce badge. There be two. One move me from one boy, I don't know anything. I think I said they Pope John boys inside. I realized that they say tech boys inside. Maybe some woman will come and say, hey, Brandon Bekum, where I go hide for a provision shop inside. Like 15 minutes.
So it be school life. It be school life.
So hurt me. You don't need.
Oh yeah, it's school life actually, because at the university you are not expected to do only academics or academic work. You know, you need to learn other social things. Oh yeah,
so that's social.
True. Yeah, like exactly. You need to learn other things, right? Like group dynamics, conformity.
No, that's not conformity.
No, you need to a large extent it's conformity. You need to learn all these things. See, me for example, or let's say in general, as a student, when you go to the university, you're expected to learn like economic management strategies, how to cope with life the hard way. So in a quest to fight for power or authority, or in a quest to fight for supremacy, these things are normal. But sometimes it's unfortunate they go to the extreme.
But one thing I'm told triggered this whole thing is a viral video of a Commonwealth student that was being molested.
Sure. In a quest for supremacy, my was school. My bro went to me and he wouldn't wait to go if they had to wait and go to Kumasi before they leak the video. I want to be the essence of it. I'm showing you I came to your home and I beat you, and there's evidence. There and then, and you can't do anything about it. Yes, home loss. You see, actually, they had a common sense they could have left.
According to what me I hear, if the person they lie, me too they lie. Then say the cat boys come. They say some vandals, then they pass, then they kick the vandals and mashada some. Put them sound them. Before them go do the video, no. Say them capture one of them are guys.
That's the video.
Well. If that be the story, that it makes sense. The vandals to go take them, my boy, because the point is, you them at school. I be the boss from my school.
Because in the video, the boy was speaking that the guy should come and
you understand?
Rescue him.
But me, my whole point be, you don't need.
I know this is not the first time a clash of this sort has happened. And yeah, there were calls that it's a single sex hall. There were calls that change it to lessons.
It can be. It's future impossible. Future impossible things. It can never be.
These things are actually
so it cannot be changed.
It cannot be changed.
These things are urging them on, but the truth is it can't. No, you know if you just change and go say make sure of what?
How difficult is it?
Listen.
It be like eternity. It hard.
It gets like spirit. It gets like spirit. If you only boys they go maintain that.
It like spirit.
It gets like spirit. If you only boys they go maintain that.
Simple thing. It's like a religion.
Just tighten the regulations.
They have a chief priest or a priest who they obey. They obey that person more than their home master, vice chancellor, even more than the president of the republic.
That be where them for.
Let me put this on record. It was reported that one person died out of it. It's not true.
It's not true.
According to the PRO, Stella Amwa, nobody discharged himself. The person has discharged himself.
See, before condemn the act, it not be nice.
No, we have to condemn that one.
Yeah,
No,
nice
that
act.
one.
In as much as
we admit it be nice act too. But the thing is, it be school life.
No,
Make
but
you
you
go
don't
on
take them to
small.
the extreme.
See, for this, go for this.
If we not make them show the food, the next time
No.
we not go like.
See,
that one they go bring out from the school, come and tell
moving forward, I think they should meet their leaders, like the traditional council. You liaise with them. What you are doing, we can't stop you, but these people have to take certain precautions. People have to take certain measures in place. Because honestly, no. If you wish to sack them, fine. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't go on.
These things, you know, me, I know the tech boys, then go cheer them all. Because me, I was in tech and I know what happens. I don't know.
What about the Legon people?
I don't know. But with tech, I know they go cheer them.
Here. You can't pinpoint.
No, they know the people.
You know what funny thing? You can get like 2 or 3 people and they will not mention anyone's name. They don't mention names.
The police has picked 10 people. Investigations are ongoing.
Yes.
They don't even need to pick them up. They know the number of people who came for the program.
They don't know. They won't mention.
There was a video circulation.
They won't mention.
So why wouldn't they watch the video?
They won't mention.
No, they don't need to watch the video. Share. Oh, they only lecture and a bar for a program. You know, say ni pass in the bar. We just get the list and deal with you. It's simple.
Do you see any end in sight, to these clashes?
Oh, I don't see any.
No.
I just see they should just tighten the regulation. You know, and some of these things they should channel it
now.
to
From now to years, it's going on because it is school life.
No, but then go.
It happen every year.
We not care about man. The next thing we go here, we not go like. Me I see Conti Cats clash before. It be bad.
What did they talk today? What did they talk today? Way back in Tematech, they ship people like that. Them talk. If they don't stop them today, tomorrow go be worse. Good. Every tomorrow today they do.
So that means that sanctions are not punitive enough. That means that sanctions. So if we sack,
it's in the Abatan where they boys are there. They ship people before them born. They go ship them before I go die. Every day they go on.
I know investigations are ongoing. What do you guys want to see with regards to the investigations? What do you want it to be made public, as people would say? We shouldn't always shelf.
It should be made public. But the thing is, if it's even made public, it shouldn't be something school life. Something like that.
I want to say somebody you made Diminia Bema. Oh, this boy they pay me. I say you go see, then go take no mess. Somebody you made it. Legon, I don't know. No, me you made it.
Almost
associated with violence.
No.
They will want to do something to set kind of a precaution. Say, Momo Bianco, yes, I didn't be.
The same.
You go tell me, I tell you.
Actually, you saying the students involved will be rusticated, it's a cliche. It happens all the time. Students have been rusticated for like eternal, some for 3 years, for 2 years. No. It's a cliche. They rusticate them, they go, but it's still continuous. It doesn't end there. So it's a morale. I mean, when you are down and you can't even study, and
so you
there's a morale song to keep you up and
It's never violent.
Okay, so
I do think.
Well, the public has condemned the clashes between Commonwealth Hall students and Katanga Hall students, and for them, we should get to the root of this matter. And students who are found culpable should be dealt with. Let's know what you also think watching home. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook is News on TV3, and on Twitter is the News TV3. Thanks for watching. Good morning. Yeah.
Your friend Paul Antonio, I'm 37. Say upese uchre wadwin ewo any other social issue ana amanyo sema. Ye no daily rant ewo TV3 New Day. First in news, best in entertainment. Yeah.
Hello. I love watching Daily Rant on TV3.
Me didn't akwaranko. Se bi bi chire wadwin a na pese o chire wadwin a eno ani Daily Rant TV3. Adwoada ekopem fiada. Wo ko chire wadwin a bibia be ye kama ade ama. Yeah, no. This is what it feels
like. Right. The Finder starts the morning and it says that Ghana is a haven to invest in. President Akufo-Addo tells UK investors. World Bank Lord Akufo-Addo Adwa Safo policies to cater for the marginalized. The Daily Guide says CID grills 3 MPs over double salary scandal. Capital Bank boss nabbed. That's a story here. And Nana fires NSA board chair over visa fraud. The BNFT says SOUs to go under single supervisory body. the state-owned enterprises. The Independent carries a story. Ghana is a haven of peace, stability. President Akufo-Addo to investors. And the Today newspaper carries the story of the suspension of the board chair of the National Sports Authority. Those are some of the newspapers I have with me this morning. My guest to do the talking, the Member of Parliament for the Asin South constituency, is a member of the NPP. Reverend John Tim Fojo is here. Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
By the grace of God, I'm doing very well.
Thanks
I trust you're doing so.
I am very good too. Thanks so much for your time with us. And a former member of Parliament for the Nanton constituency, a former Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry is also here, Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed. Good morning too.
Yes, ma'am.
Hope you're doing great.
Yes, ma'am.
Your students were yesterday misbehaving on campus.
They are not my students.
Because you were a student leader, so I see that as your student. All right. Thanks so much for coming. But it's indeed a sad situation to see. Is it that we have allowed it to fester, or they're just doing what you guys used to do in those days?
Well, good morning to your cherished listeners, and good morning to your good self. And good morning to my reverend politician, a very good friend of mine. We haven't been on programs for some time now.
Yes.
And of course, good morning to the good people of Nanton constituency. I would just say that it's not new. In Legon,
to this extent?
No, it's not new. Frankly speaking, we've had worse, incidences as far as I'm concerned, and it's not only in Ghana. You remember, having served in student leadership in Ghana, I became the Secretary General of the All Africa Students Union for 4 years. So I traveled across the continent of Africa, and I do know how students across the continent behaved. In as much as I am not condoning that kind of behavior, because times have changed, things have evolved. One would expect that some of the things that happened when we were students, and those who were students even before us, we wouldn't be able to engage in those things. But be it as it may, sometimes it adds to the, if you like, the energy of students at that level. But the extent to which things are captured on video, where people are beaten, where threats of will kill you and others, and I think that is extremely appalling. But if you ask me, this is not new. We have had incidences where students of Katanga and other halls have clashed, where students of Commonwealth Hall and other halls have clashed. In Legon, I was in Legon Hall, but I was seen as an associate member of Commonwealth Hall because I was always in Commonwealth Hall. And many people, until I say this, thought I was in Commonwealth Hall. To be very honest, I was in Legon Hall. But when I went to do my second degree at Tech, I stayed in Katanga for a year, because I was supposed to be at the Spring Hostel, and then the rooms were not that available. So I stayed in Katanga for a year. So I have a feel and understanding of some of this. I have heard people who say that these things are driven by occultism.
Right.
I really don't think that it is.
They are not?
No, I don't think that there is. It depends on how you would define occultism. As a matter of fact, if you ask the university authorities and even students, they will tell you that if Commonwealth Hall is non-existent in Legon, Legon wouldn't be interesting. If Katanga is non-existent in Tech, Tech wouldn't be interesting. If Casford in Cape is non-existent, you need to have some of these things. Because look, university means the entire university in a city. You've had a lot of students who go to the university. They are not interested in other extracurricular activities. Their interest is just to book. And that is the reason why you listen to some university graduates and you wonder, what kind of graduates are they? Because I remember that when we were even in the universities, and it still pertains, there are people, their focus is just their subject area. They have no time to read other areas. If he is doing psychology, whatever he reads is psychology. If he is doing, engineering, whatever he reads or she reads is engineering. That is not the purpose of university education. You can read those things and get a first class, but you'll not be able to fit in the world of business or the world of market. And being a university graduate, unfortunately, people judge intelligence based on the class you have gotten, and sometimes the university you have attended. That is how people judge that. But beyond that, today, it is not about even the course you did. I did psychology my first degree. I went and did plan, did international relations. You see, so you move. What is important is to just have the degree. Unfortunately, many people go there. The focus is I need to get a first class. If I don't get a first class, heavens get loose. So he would do everything to get a first class. So he'll come out as half-baked university graduate. I'm not saying that you can engage in other extracurricular activities and still make a first class. So I would urge that conscious effort should be made towards, training students to be complete graduates in our universities. But with some of these incidences, I mean, I wouldn't want to moralize the discussion. I wouldn't want to say that those who engage in it are different breeds of students in the universities. But I wouldn't encourage
So it is not that we are turning out students who are not properly trained.
There are leading members of this country, both in politics. Some of them are reverend ministers. Some of them are leaders in societies. If they tell you the kinds of things they did in the universities, you'll be shocked. You know the Egbe Fable. I remember when we came to Legon our first year. He was then the outgoing, chief vandal.
Right. I remember he was a chief
vandalism vandal. When you listen to it, I told you I wasn't in Common Hall, but it's something that is lovely. They make the university very interesting. Let me
put this question to Reverend Tim Fodjo. Reverend, some have suggested that look, we can control what is happening by turning these the male-dominated halls, Casford, Katanga, and the Vandal City, into mixed halls. Send the ladies there. It will control the way the young men behave. Is that really what you think can tone down the way some of these things are done?
Yeah, good morning once again, and good morning to my brother, Comrade Mutala, and of course our esteemed viewers. And I must say that, I must remind the delegates for the Central Regional MPP Delegate Conference coming up this Sunday at Kaswa.
Okay, he will pay.
It's very important that some arrangement must be made on the side. It's very important to appeal again to the delegates, MPP Central Region, to kindly renew the mandate of Chairman Robert Kutin Jr. It was during his tenure that we would turn around the fortune of NPP Central Region from 7 seats to 19 seats. I mean, that achievement has been unprecedented. And the essence of politics, as Comrade Mutala will agree, is to win political power. So if the man and his team have won political power, won the presidential for the region from 43% to 53%, and parliamentary seats from abysmal 7 seats to 19 seats, unprecedented. Of course, we appeal that they renew his mandate. Yeah. Now, to your question, frankly speaking, if any attempt is done at mixing those halls, it will nowhere. It will spoil a lot of things. I mean, to put it lightly. But there's a certain history of and culture of Katanga, Commonwealth, and some of these halls, Casford, and some of these very vibrant historic halls. And I think that culture will have to be encouraged, albeit certain elements of indiscipline is what one can do away with. And I side with Comrade Mutala and recalling and recounting many of the very responsible leaders that we have had in our country over the years in various spheres, politics, religion, entertainment, media. These are people that were very vibrant. These were people who mostly trace their route to Katanga, to Casford, to Commonwealth and Vandals, and they are very responsible men in society. And so that culture of exuberance, very little can be done to tame it. It's a whole unique style, but the indiscipline bit,
threats to kill and stuff like that.
The indiscipline bit is what I would discourage, and that's speculated occultism dimension, which cannot be discounted. If it is true, and something will have to be done critically about it. And the reason why I acknowledged the many responsible men that Katanga, that Vandal, that Casford have produced for the country and even for the diaspora should be the more reason why the current students that are privileged even to be inhabiting in these halls must project into the future and ask themselves, where would I want to be in the next 10 years? Do I really know where I would be in the next 20 years? And the responsible position and leadership role that I would play? Will anything that I'm doing presently be inimical in the future? And could it be a ground that will limit the extent of influence that I ought to exude? These questions, if asked, and if my brothers would want to, interrogate themselves and appreciate the impact of current actions and inactions, and the repercussions that may have possibly in the future, I believe that it will encourage them to be measured, even in the way that they display that beautiful culture that has been a legacy over the years. And I would not encourage any tampering of that culture, albeit it must be done decently, must be done orderly, it must be done in a manner that will be devoid of indiscipline, in a manner that will be devoid of occultism, in a manner that would not be inimical. Now, as we speak, there are certain clashes that even lead to death. There are certain clashes that lead to some permanent disability injuries. And you ask yourself, is it really worth it? The bright future that you have, is it really worth sacrificing that for the indiscipline dimension or occultism dimension? And sometimes I feel that it's overly done. So let us check that.
Okay.
But that culture of exuberance, I mean, we've all been young before, right? Okay. You and I, Comrade Mutala, we've all been young before, we've had our days, and they have the opportunity, but we're encouraging them to do it in a very
decent way. I'm grateful.
Quickly, you see, if you go to the university, and I'll tell you an interesting thing, there are some students who certainly cannot live in a mixed hall. I lived in Legon.
Because of what?
I'll give you just practical examples. Commonwealth Hall, you can walk bare-chested. Commonwealth Hall, you can go and sleep in any room, whether the room belongs to you or not. Commonwealth Hall, you can walk anywhere someone is cooking and then you can eat. You certainly wouldn't have this prevailing match in the mixed halls. In Legon Hall, sometimes, I remember at a point in time I was in N block, you had ladies up and you have men down, go to annexes, you are mixed. I mean, you don't have that freedom. Commonwealth Hall, economic position and economic disposition is not a yardstick to determine who lives in that hall. But ask those of us who lived in the mixed halls, those things were happening. To be very honest, I remember I had a friend who was cooking beans, a very brilliant guy. He just did his PhD. And then in his floor, they were calling him Beans because we're living in a mixed hall. You can't have that in Commonwealth Hall. One other issue, if they take a sample in the universities and ask whether they should have them as mixed halls, I don't think they can. I'll give you a story ahead, whether that story is true or not. Just last one. I'm told that there was a time they wanted to make Commonwealth Hall a mixed hall. So when students vacated, they brought in some ladies. You know, they admitted fresh students, brought some of them into Commonwealth Hall before school resumed. You know what they did? They didn't say anything. This is a ladies' room. Someone will come naked and knock the door and say, please, can I get some pepper? Can I get some onion? There are people, exactly, there are people in Commonwealth Hall, to be very honest, who don't even have soap. But they can get soap in the washroom too, but you can't have that in the other halls.
Yeah. But right, just to add briefly to what Comrade Mutala mentioned in the previous submission, the university education must be seen as an opportunity for all-round development. I mean, beyond the academic discipline. I've always campaigned that students would not have to box themselves even within the confines of the discipline, because mostly people have had to settle for certain programs because that is the only program they are whose cut-off point their grades could qualify. Perhaps because their parents wanted them to be engineers, doctors, or pharmacists, so they chose those programs. But really, that may not have been what they originally intended. So instead of inclining towards some of these indiscipline and occultism and other exuberant tendencies that may take away the future of such individuals, let us use that as an opportunity where the social element, the very beneficial social element, will be harnessed. Most of the things I do today, well, because of the social value that I saw the opportunity to add to myself in UMAT and other places. But unlike in your case in Legon, in School of Mines, George Grant University of Mines and Technology, it was almost a boys' university. So all of us would be Gold Hall, for instance, or Chamber of Mines Hall, for instance. We had ladies in there, but we were able to we felt free as Commonwealth would do. It was just a handful of ladies were there. Okay. So that is one unique thing about
I'm grateful.
That we want a student to visit UMass. Very beautiful place.
Let's start with the President's trip, the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. The Statesman put the story here. Rule of law, not slogan in Ghana. The President yesterday was addressing the meeting, he explained that this is because the country offers the peace and stability required to secure investment. He's asking investors to come to Ghana. He said Ghana is a haven of peace, security and stability. He goes on to say that touting the strong democratic credentials of the country, President Akufo-Addo stated the rule of law in Ghana is not a slogan but an operating principle of state development. That was when he spoke to the UK-Ghana Investment Summit that was organized by the UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce. That's the story. Daily Graphic captures it same and says, Ghana, ideal place to invest in. Let's start the conversation here. We'll also touch on Theresa May's concern with gays. Now, Reverend, bringing in investors or asking them to come in, do we have, the President said the rule of law is not a slogan, do we have that environment to attract these investors, or we're just simply asking them to come when we don't have that environment to bring them in?
Yeah, I hold a strong opinion that since the year 1992 and in the Fourth Republic, Ghana has been a very stable, economy. Ghana has been a very stable state, and there hasn't been such instability that will be inimical to doing business in the jurisdiction. One would agree that to have foreign direct investments coming into a particular country, there are very important fundamental conditions that must be conducive. One is stability, one is peace, security, and then of course the macroeconomic, conditions, that the macro fiscal space that must be very conducive, and of course the legal framework that will also serve as a very protective incentive for any foreign investor to come in with the strongest assurance that the investment will be protected. There are laws that are respected. The framework of the rule of law is strongly upheld, such that the investments that are going to be, put into the economy will be, excuse me, will be protected. So, for the stability and the peace aspects of those conditions that are requisites, we have had that over the years, in the past 2 decades. But you can recall that from the past 1.5 years, one dimension of the conditions which has become very, very conducive is the growing macroeconomic stability, where you have the macro physicals set out well, when you have the city doing well, when you have the inflation reducing, when you have interest rates going low, when you have cost of doing business steadily declining. These are the conditions that foreign direct investors would look out for, and that enabling environment has been put in place by the current government, and that has taken a lot of response. You recall that in last year alone, there were visits to this country of notably more than 11 very important statesmen and president and heads of state from various parts of the world who came in to visit Ghana, and each of them who came in was strongly and ably accompanied by a team and delegation of business leaders from their country. And this is a very positive response to the conducive macroeconomic conditions that have been put in place and position Ghana as a hub for investment and a peace haven for foreign direct investment, and recognizing that the private sector is the engine of growth, and to achieve the very overarching strategic aim of developing Ghana beyond aid, it is important that we attract the right investment. And to attract the right investment, you need to set in place the right macro-physical space. You need to set the right climate for doing business. And that is exactly what has been done. So now businesses have the comfort to expand, and new businesses have the comfort to throw in more investment to expand the economy, to provide that space.
Okay, wrap up
and that has implication for employment. And interestingly, the focus here is not just to exploit certain raw materials and just export, but significantly, the direction is for foreign direct investment to come into the country, to add value to our raw material and ensure that value addition is done, and then we're able to add value to even what we would in turn produce. But again, there's another dimension.
Right. Let me go to comment.
There's another dimension as to whether you, maybe this would be my initial comment.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll
come back to you. Comment. So
I thought you've made all the comments.
No, this will be my initial comment. Yeah.
The president said that the rule of law is not a slogan. The platform is set for these investors to come in.
Well, there is nothing wrong with any president, trying to woo investors to come and invest in your country. It's a very good thing. And I think that successive governments have done that. And that is what governments do. Yesterday, I was watching SABC, and the current president of South Africa had indeed constituted a team who would woo investors. Interesting part of his statement, which was a very long speech he gave, had to do with the need for them to attract investors within Africa to come and invest in South Africa. So there is nothing wrong with that. But honestly, when I was listening to Reverend, I was wondering whether he was talking about Ghana or he was talking about a country that I do not know. As a matter of fact, we have had a stable country in this country. Unfortunately, the stability that was indeed bestowed to this president have been eroded. Under a leader who is a lawyer, we are told, with standing repute, under his watch, something has happened to the judiciary that has never happened anywhere in the world, where you had a terror groups associated with a political party walk into a court of competent jurisdiction and virtually lynch a judge.
This propaganda doesn't fit in at
please,
all.
I listen to you.
Okay, Reverend,
this is a statement of fact that people went to a court in Kumasi, members of your party, and in fact your general secretary admitted and publicly stated that they won't disband that group. By the way, he sits at cabinet. You had a member of parliament, Kennedy Ajapong, who praised and defended them. Your party never disassociated themselves from it. I'm saying that under his watch. Now you tell me that rule of law, again, let us not make mockery of ourselves, particularly leaders when you travel. We live in a globalized world, in a world where everybody can sit anywhere and be able to tell what happens in any country. You live in a country where people sleep with one eye opened. You live in a country where police officers who are supposed to be providing us with protection themselves are crying for protection. That never in our political history, as far as the 1992 Constitution is concerned, have we had 4 police officers killed in 1 month, January alone. The extent to which every single person who matters in this country admitted that the security situation in this country is at a precarious state. Now, every investor, there are very important things that attract investors to come and invest. Of course, the economic stability. Inflation is going down, people are crying. People cannot even afford. What is important in all these indicators is stability and security. First and foremost, security for the protection of your investment if you want to invest in any country. And most importantly, your personal safety and security. The personal safety and security is ramshackled. It's in complete disarray that people cannot even guarantee their security and safety. Please, the extent to which...
Are you not overblowing this?
Why? Are the facts not enough to tell you that this is not overblown? That in this country, you have 4 police officers killed in just 1 month, in January alone. In this country, you have military officers killed in the discharge of their responsibilities. I'm not saying that we haven't had incidences where police officers are killed in this country. 1 month alone. So if you tell me that is overblown, is it not a fact that Delta Force and Invisible Forces members went and attacked the court? Is it not a fact?
But
I am saying that the security...
the fact that our judicial system dealt with that?
Was it the responsibility of the judiciary to deal with an attack on them? It was the responsibility of the executive, which is financing those terror groups. It wasn't the responsibility of the judiciary to protect themselves. It is the responsibility of the executive to provide protection for the judiciary, for you and I and everybody. So that is not their responsibility. So what I'm saying is that when you talk about those indicators, you can go and woo them. It's a very good thing. There is nothing wrong. Why is it that now we are associating the number of leaders who visited this country Many leaders have visited Afghanistan than they have visited Ghana. Many leaders have visited Syria than they have visited Ghana. When you achieve economic indicators, when your economy is doing well, stability, and you don't have peace and security, it will come to naught. If you had visited Libya, Syria, and those countries before, who had economic muscle that is indeed larger than we have today, if you visited those countries and you visit those countries today, you would come to one conclusion, that every single country, peace and stability is sine qua non to the progress of that country. You can have all the achievements that you want to achieve as a country. If you are not able to maintain peace and stability, it will come to naught. We have seen multi-million-dollar investment just within 1 hour destroyed. And that is why when we raise the issue of stability and security in this country,
no, which multi-million-dollar investment has been destroyed?
I said we have seen multi-million-dollar investment across the globe.
Yeah, we're talking about Ghana.
Oh,
you are getting impressive.
Okay. What impressive?
You go on,
please.
The Ghanaian business climate.
You are not listening to me. If you are listening to me, you would understand.
Yeah, so Bright, I'm checking the time.
Reverend, I'm coming.
You don't determine the time.
He's wrapping up very
So I'm saying that for the you see, let's get something very clear. When you are having an intellectual discourse, you are not limited to just talk. I am bringing in those examples and pointing out to you that this incompetent, super incompetent government should pay heed. What is propaganda? Is it the fact that court was attacked? What is propaganda? Is it not the fact that 4 police officers were killed in 1 month?
Since I am coming to you, you allow him to.
Oh no, he's allowed. He's allowed.
Yeah. So
you see,
he's allowed.
You go ahead and
this is a very notable of him. Today is even very, very good.
You go ahead and.
He's trying to play the victim.
He's my brother.
You spoke extensively.
He's my brother.
I had the decency and the patience to listen to you.
And that's exactly what I'm doing.
And you can do that.
For you to finish, then I come in.
It's embarrassing.
The record straight.
Okay. Allow me to make my points. So what I'm saying, you see, when you hit at them, that's what they do. I am saying that this super incompetent government that has failed to maintain security and stability in this country. Just yesterday, what happened by invisible forces? Yesterday, I'm saying that if you are not able to do that, you'll be making mockery of yourself when you travel and asking people to come and invest. By the way, international organizations and national have all indicated that Ghana is reducing. We are falling down as a business climate or destination. Ghana. These are not the statements coming from the NDC. These are the statements that indeed are provided by independent neutral bodies that assess the investment. The number of people who have invested and the so-called investors they brought in, what has it brought to this country? You are talking about stability when our debt is ballooning. And in fact, we spend almost 6% of the revenue we generate from oil to service those debt. When you told us that you were not going to borrow, when you told us that the money was in Ghana, when you told us that we were borrowing because we could not. Now, what the NDC borrowed,
let me go to
what the NDC borrowed, we provided it. Tell us a single gutter that you have been able to do
in
this country with this balloon borrowing that this super incompetent government is engaged in.
I am grateful. Reverend, so he's asking questions on issues of security, and he says that that is what is needed. That's without that, then everything that we achieve might go down the drain.
Yeah, let me submit that Ghana, one becomes a better place for us all to live in. It is to the benefit of us all as Ghanaians, and that must be the objective and the mindset and the posturing of every well-meaning Ghanaian. Now, when interestingly, the determination of whether or not Ghana has become a stable country, Ghana has become a secured country, and Ghana has become a safe haven for investment, the determination of that doesn't only lie in the propaganda of the NDC. If they wished, all the things that my brother Mutala has said here would be the narrative for Ghana. But unfortunately, that has not been the case. Unfortunately, the narrative is different. The world out there, IMF and very credible international organizations have a view of Ghana different from what the NDC is perceiving. If it is not NDC and it's only a personal view of Comrade Mutala, that may be granted. But again, just in April last year, Ghana was ranked the fourth best place to invest on the continent in Africa.
That's not true.
And IMF has projected Ghana as the I will give you all evidence. They are all here. These are rankings that have come and we've discussed on various shows that you yourself attest to. So interestingly, now on the issue of security, one certain act of insecurity started setting in, and of course, there is no politician can proudly boast that, I mean, during my tenure, there were less number of policemen that were killed, there were more people that were killed in this regime. So I do not fall into that analysis. Otherwise, I would have given you the crime statistics of various years from 2011 to date to prove to you. Prove to you. There was not any single regime that an MP was murdered. These are very unfortunate, incidents that one does not even want to get in. Now, we must move away. I hold the view that even if one police officer loses his life in line of duty, it's regrettable, it is unfortunate. Even if one person, one civilian, must lose their life in any form of burglary, that is regrettable and it's unfortunate. However, one must have that nationalistic view. Now, when suddenly there was this mysterious upsurge of crime, we had a notable statesman of this country who has been the founder of the NDC, had cause even to assert that he has cause to believe that these upsurge of crime may be politically motivated. I hope that in the final analysis, this may not turn out true, that for the pursuit of one political party's agenda, certain acts of crime may be politically motivated. I pray that does not turn out true. We all, as politicians, we are here every morning talking, we are in parliament, we are in various places, and we must be seen as striving hard for the betterment of the lives of the people, not to seek a misfortune of a country in whether MPP, NDC, or PNC is in power. I must, as a well-meaning Ghanaian, must wish that Ghana continues to be a safe haven for investment, that the livelihood of the people are improved, and the right things. Fortunately, the intelligence on Ghana's economy and the socioeconomic stability and peace and security, as the intelligence on this country is known out there to the countries, to every state that comes in. The US is here, have their intelligence. Every country, UK, Japan, China, they all have the intelligence. And they know that the narrative of peace and security is not as the propagandists will put it, and for which a commensurate response has been received. So instead of, towing the propagandist line, I would want us all, to market the stable macroeconomic conditions and the peaceful climate and the very formidable, do you know that there are expatriates who work in multinational companies who, when transferred from any attempt to transfer them from Ghana to any neighboring country in the sub-region, resisted. They all want to be in Ghana and work in Ghana. Because Ghana is relatively the most peaceful country in the sub-region. For which reason they resist even transfer to us. So let us be proud of the peaceful Ghana we've all built. Let us be proud of the safe Ghana we've all built. Let us be proud of the strong macroeconomic economy that we've all built, and sing this narrative to ensure that we attract the right investment, not for MPP, not for NDC, not for politicians, not for Ntim Fojo or for Mutala, but for Ghanaians.
Okay,
and that must be the post.
I'm grateful.
Mutala,
just a minute, and then I am moving.
Just a minute. He spoke. Please. Please.
You
spoke.
You
spoke.
You
can't tell me this.
Let me just. Yes. You can do whatever. You can say whatever you want to say.
You realize that
Ghana is not for NDC or MPP.
You realize when I was speaking. You see. You realize when I was speaking. He was unnecessary.
Okay, you are Reverend Minister.
Reverend, please allow him.
I'm a Reverend Minister, so I can't talk.
No, allow you.
I can't say my ideas.
You should be the person who should be encouraging us to respect the viewing public, but you are not.
We are respecting.
No, you are not.
Reverend, you allow him because I'm just giving him 2 minutes to do what, so that we can move on. Come in, please go on.
Let's get something very clear. I am scandalized listening to him. But I'm not surprised because it is a reminiscence of the psyche of the current president. That when you begin to raise questions about impending danger, they question your nationality, they question your patriotism. You have a president who led us into a senseless agreement when we raise issues and yes, please, let me finish. Let me finish. Right. Can I finish? Can I finish?
I think senseless is too
absolutely is senseless. Absolutely. You have an agreement. You have an agreement which the Minister of Defense brought to Parliament and says that you don't have the power to amend anything. Absolutely senseless. I have no apology for this. It's senseless. But can I make my point?
The point is that our representatives have agreed.
Which representatives?
Parliament.
Which parliament?
And approved this document.
We are questioning even the process of approval. Hold on. We are questioning because
saying that
our position is that that agreement was senseless. It doesn't inure to the benefit of us. And I would make a point. You have this. That yet when people question, not only NDC, civil society group, including some leading members within his government, who have said that, look, take a second look at that document. The president had an opportunity. He insulted everybody except himself. He was condescending, disorganized, destabilized, frustrated, and angry. He insulted everybody. Even you have, it wasn't only NDC. Please, he insulted them and question whether indeed we are, can I finish? He questioned whether we are patriots.
About the president.
Didn't the president question? Didn't the president, please? He did. And I'll tell you why. The president said that those who were raising the issues were not patriotic. He raised that. Now he sits here and he says that, you see, we should be nationalistic. Why? I am raising genuine concerns and I am making a statement of fact that it is a fact that 4 police officers were killed in 1 month. We have never had that. And if you listen to me, I said that this is not the first time we have police officers killed on duty. So but specifically we have 4 police officers killed. We have a fact.
Let me wrap up and let me move on.
It's not right.
No,
you see when I'm talking.
Yes. So wrap up and let me move
Minister. For God's sake.
If you haven't struggled,
it's embarrassing that I'm the one. It's embarrassing that I'm the one telling you to respect the view public.
If you are struggling to articulate your propaganda, don't blame me.
So you see,
we're running out of time. Wrap up and let's move to another conversation before we
right. What I'm saying is that all the issues that I have raised, you don't say that we should be nationalistic. And I brought in the president because he also questioned the nationalism, the patriotism of people who have raised genuine concerns and asked that there should be a second look at it. Now, all the statements I have made, I did not concoct any statement anywhere. I have stated a statement of fact, and I thought he was going to challenge those statements that I have made. And I did also say that there is nothing wrong with we wooing investors to come. But what is imperative in any mind of any investor is, one, the safety and security of his investment and his personal safety. Now, all the things that we have done, successive government, nothing can be achieved if we live in a country where people cannot sleep with all their 2 eyes closed. That is the state of Ghana today.
Okay, that is what it's saying. Reverend, just a minute, and then I am moving on to another case. No, you don't come in.
Contrary to the propaganda being spewed out. If people could not sleep and close their eyes in Ghana, why would Ghana be ranked the most peaceful country in the South region? Why would multinationals prefer to live in Ghana and even resist transfers to other countries?
You didn't want him to.
He should tell us
disrupt your thought. Allow him. I just a minute. Then
with my issue, you ask
in the name of politics.
Yes, allow him. Yeah, allow him.
In the name of politics, one may have their own style and posturing, but I do not think that any style or posturing should have one inclining towards, spewing out very derogatory comments about presidents. I cannot
have done that. Is lying. Particularly, you said and you lie.
I cannot. People are free to criticize presidents and prime ministers and leaders and anyone at all. People must feel free to criticize where they have to. But in so doing, one must be mindful. I cannot go to the extent of passing these words at any NDC president. He's the president of Ghana.
He's making a point. So allow him. So allow him to land.
For it to have been granted that the president insulted that. I thought those were unfortunate and unacceptable, and I demand a revision of that statement.
Of what? That the president insulted everybody.
He is the president of Ghana. You may criticize his decisions or certain actions, and you have it's within the remit of your right to do that. But again, one fact that we must all establish is that a politician must not be seen as gloating over the killing or the demise of people. You know, to cite that as instances, even to generalize. It is very regrettable for even a single, and I stated it again, it is regrettable for any human being, any Ghanaian, any human being to lose his life in Ghana under any circumstance.
Your government doesn't care.
It must not be an object of achievement.
Okay.
One might not. It is highly inappropriate.
No,
Your government doesn't care about
it is not your time to talk. No, it is not your time to talk. You see, comrade, it is not your time to talk.
So I would have the opportunity.
That is if I give you the opportunity, but it's not your time to talk. Reverend, please go.
Maintain that Ghana is a safe place, Ghana is a secured place, and we would even urge our security agencies to continue to work hard in ensuring that Ghana becomes even a safer place for us all.
I am grateful.
And that must be
Reverend, I'm grateful. No, I am moving on. No.
He said something
I am moving on. Because I don't have a lot of time. Let's quickly touch on this one. Now, comment, I have moved on. The publisher this morning says the UK government to help Ghana others review anti-gay laws.
I mean, I think that the viewing public will be disappointed in you.
Okay, all right.
They are absolutely disappointed.
That's for me.
You allowed him. No, you allowed him to make those statements.
I have moved on.
So for the time he has granted you, he has been magnanimous.
All right. The publisher this morning.
I hate to say this.
I don't want to switch your microphone.
You can do that.
Let me go to the publisher this morning. Now, it says that the UK government has taken the blame for introducing anti-gay laws in former colonies such as Ghana. The government says that it is ready to help such countries review their laws to accommodate gays. The British Prime Minister Theresa May, while addressing the Commonwealth Heads of State meeting in London on Tuesday, said she deeply regrets the UK's role in introducing the anti-gay law. She said the UK's role seems to have resulted in a legacy of discrimination, violence, and even death in some of its former colonies. It is asking that it is ready to help countries that will review their laws to deal with anti-gay laws. Kwame, let me come to you in this. You think this is an attack on our laws?
You see, once again, I don't want to raise an issue and then you would add up with him and you don't. No, to be very honest. Look,
you go ahead.
Right. No, honestly, I am not happy, and I don't think that the viewing public is happy, because if we sit here and he spew out absolute falsehood, gloating over the killing of police officers, who did that here?
No, he did.
So why, if you knew that you were not going to give me the opportunity, you should have told him that he was lying. A reverend minister, sit on set and lie. And that's why he does. That's what couches political. No, that's why you do. No, but you are lying.
We have moved to another point now.
Anyway, but let's see. Well, that's where he goes. Repeatedly, when I'm speaking, he does that.
I don't have a lot of time, so you go ahead.
This government told us that this precedent is bound to happen. You had people who came and defended. I am not surprised. And once again, I will go to that arrangement, the U.S. arrangement, and tell you how it has a link with promoting this particular act in Ghana. You have an arrangement that says that you cannot prosecute anybody who is under that arrangement, an American citizen who works in Ghana. Under our criminal laws, when two people commit a crime, and in this country, engage in same sex, it's a crime. It's a criminal offense. When you have an American soldier or a contractor, by the way, we were told that they are just contractors. The American contractors are not contractors. If you have an American soldier, an American under that arrangement, who engages in that act with a Ghanaian, and per the agreement you cannot prosecute that American, then how would you then prosecute the Ghanaian who engages in that? Look, this, you can't call it civilization. Let us begin to appreciate one thing, that civilization is not defined by a particular group of persons. In the perspective of the West, civilization is a man can marry a man and they engage in whatever. In their perspective of civilization, a woman can marry a woman. You can slap your father, you can slap your mother. Until such a time we began realizing as a people that in as much as we copy things that are indeed and near to our benefit, and which does not derail our socio-cultural norms and values, we will have a problem. We need to understand that there are good things about the West and Europe and America that we need, just as there are good things about us that they may also need. But this hook, line, and sinker, where we take everything they do and bring it here, it is something that is extremely dangerous. And I'll tell you, look, the reason why a lot of us, almost all Orthodox religions, talk about this. The reason why we talk about this, and I will speak as a Muslim, if you look at the Quran condemnation of such act, that even when Lut, God, Allah wanted to punish them, he sent birds, and each bird went with a stone of fire, specifically indicating and demarcating who the stones were going to be thrown at. And Allah says that if we fail to speak, and at that time those who failed to condemn, they also suffered the consequences of the punishment. Now, if we begin to talk about these human rights and values, then we must as well begin to abandon the religious beliefs and faiths that we ascribe to. Because as long as we remain Christian, Muslims, and traditionalists, we need to uphold those values. And I have listened to very weak argument that is being made time and again. That yes, we can talk about that, but religion is dynamic. Wait a minute. Religious beliefs are not based on reasoning. They are based on faith. That is the position of all Orthodox religions. That if you begin to use reasoning to explain religious positions, you would have problems. And that is where our society has become. That they tie some of these things with either aid, with financial assistance. To be very honest, my heart bleeds. Until such a time, our president should be as bold as Prof. Mills did, of blessed memory. He should be as bold as President Muhammad did. He should be as bold as the President Uhuru Kenyatta told President Obama straight in his face that this is an issue we shouldn't discuss. So I'm saying that when you begin to do that, if the West thinks that allowing that to happen is part of the civil liberty, freedom, and people expressing their freedom, why must they want to force people to do that? Okay. Now, will they accept trocosi? Will they accept female genital mutilations? Because they consider it as barbaric. The cultures that engage in it, just a second. Yes, the cultures that engage in it do not consider those things as barbaric. So let me have a simple message for them. Just as they consider certain cultural values as barbaric, so we consider same-sex marriage as absolutely repugnant, appalling, and barbaric. And I think that our president should be bold enough. The actions and inactions of this government points at a different direction. Reverend, should Ghana allow UK to come help us review our laws on anti-gays?
Brian, I must state that I deeply regret the statement made by the Prime Minister. I deeply regret. And I must submit that we do not require, respectfully, we do not require the assistance of any country. We're a sovereign state. We do not require the assistance of any country in tampering with the value system that has stood over the years. And I must beg to differ, contrary to the assertion by the Prime Minister that it took Britain to introduce anti-gay cultural values and systems into our country by the introduction of anti-gay laws, and for which they would have to be responsible to reverse same. I must submit here that way prior to the coming in of any foreign national, Ghana had our indigenous strong cultural value system that abhorred this abomination, that did not condone this abomination. So there were laws even before they came in. It didn't take the colonial masters. It didn't take the colonial. No, we are very serious here. It didn't take the colonial masters to teach Ghana that gayism and lesbianism and bestiality were distasteful. It didn't take them to teach us. We upheld these values prior to their coming in, and that must be submitted. And that value can withstand any attempt to bring this into our country. And we must say, see, you recall that it took a very bold effort of mine, standing in strongly to campaign against the introduction of these elements, and standing boldly resisting these pressures coming from all angles that have persisted over the decades. That has come with a lot of repercussions. If I'm to narrate to you the repercussions that I have suffered as a result of the bold standard I took
within
for.
His own party.
And at the point, not within my party.
The president said he's
at the point, I was expecting NDC MPs to even corroborate the position.
Please, our position is very
that was not done. Did you hear on any platform when that campaign was launched, when the Speaker of Parliament? No, Brian, let me make my submission.
This is not a political.
This is not a political issue.
If this is your position, is it then worrying when the current leader of the country says that this is bound to happen?
And that is worrying. That is where the angle that I'm coming
quickly
from. That you see, the collective fight against homosexuality will be lost if we politically divide around it.
Oh, no.
It must be a unanimous.
How do we stay united?
It must be unanimous. Whether NDC, MPP, whichever political party one affiliates with, we must strongly resist any such attempt and tell the West, or any country for that matter, we respect our business and bilateral relations with you and diplomatic relations with you. As a matter of fact, the gains that these foreign countries, benefit from Ghana as a result of our trade relations, you will marvel at the aid that's coming here. So the 8 points cannot be tenable as a bait to threaten, to threaten us to change our stance on protecting our values. There is no people in Ghana, from the north to the south, from the east to the west, where a family will gather. Where a family will gather. You see, and I am speaking as a Christian, I'm speaking as a Ghanaian, I'm speaking as an African, I'm speaking as someone who believes in the cultural values, who believes in the Christian tenet, and there's no religion that accepts this. Not that I know that that takes place in Ghana.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this conversation.
There is no people in Ghana, there is no culture in Ghana that accepts this. So the signal must go out there.
He doesn't have
and I must say that
I think he's made his point.
The president is not in any way.
The president says
the president does not support
the
introduction of
but if it says bound to happen, it means that
legislation
is bound to happen,
and that must be supported. That must be submitted.
All right.
Yeah, NDC may be free to do propaganda with this, but this is a very important issue.
Okay,
and
I am grateful, gentlemen, for your time this morning. Reverend Johnny Chimfojo is a member of the MPP, member of Parliament for Assin South. Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is a former deputy trade and industry minister, former member of Parliament for Nanton. He's accusing me of not being fair to me, but I'm grateful for your time. I'm sure you sent in comments. We'll read them. Stay with us. Sports comes up right after this.
Mickey, take your shut up. Send message on Kasa. This is the second time. Shatana is not sending message, Mom. Mubaka, you left your whole goal report and things. No, they send a message.
Sorry, what you do need first? You beg.
Dinner, I'm for Major, Cardium for Major, Mompebe 300 cities. I hey, send a message no Kasa. But it's still fine. Send me Kasa Chiromo. I'm on fast canning, Sunny, punching Major, and it's our uncle. When a boy then beat them, they make them show, otherwise they will see.
My boys to beat them, give a million. You boys make it boys show.
And that happened on the University of Ghana campus. Some students of the Katanga Hall and the Commonwealth Hall in Accra had a clash. And what you saw there was one of the unfortunate incidents. I've been joined in studio by Gideon Yeboah Mwening. He's a former executive of Katanga. Chief, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. And Eugene Kweku Boytu is a former executive of the Commonwealth Hall. I'll be. So fellow and V-mate, welcome, gentlemen. I see both of you are wearing black. Any significance?
Okay, Katanga, black is our thing. So
okay,
it's usual.
And for you,
it's purely coincidental on my part. Our color is red.
Yours is red.
Crimson red.
Okay, crimson red. I see. So, what are your initial thoughts about what you just saw on television? Let's start with you, Eugene.
Thank you. So, first of all, I typically get a bit disappointed when issues of this matter occur on our campuses. And then there's a certain pretense within the general populace that these issues or these violent clashes are peculiar or are only a characteristic feature of university campuses. Violence is a societal thing. You would know, being a key practitioner of journalism in Ghana, that every now and then our political parties, for instance, and their members are up in arms against each other. You would also be aware of the...
Are you endorsing violence?
I'm not endorsing, but I think that we should frame the issue very well. That in human societies all around the world, throughout history, disagreements and violence sometimes occur. So it is not a characteristic feature of university campuses alone. Okay. That's my first impression. My second point also is that we have to also understand these are young people unraveling their adulthood.
We'll come to that, but let me pick your initial thoughts as well, Gideon. What are your first impressions seeing somebody's hair being cut without his will, literally humiliated and molested and threatened?
Okay, I would want to use this opportunity to condemn any act of such on any campus in Ghana or anywhere. You don't have to do that. You kidnap somebody, it's a crime. So I would have to condemn that.
Right.
But we'd also have to look at it this way. It is not new. So we would have to now think about how best we can manage or prevent this thing other than making it look...
How long has this kind of practice been going on, you know, retaliating and all of that? How long has it been going? Do you know?
With Katanga and Commonwealth, this has never been our thing.
Okay.
It is very new. I think less than a year or even a year now.
But you've had with other halls like Casford?
Casford, no.
Okay.
Katanga is in alliance with Casford and Mesa Saba Hall.
Okay.
So always we do our thing together.
Okay.
And Commonwealth is in alliance with Unity Hall and ATO.
Okay, okay.
So that is
in
the
the
thing.
center. Okay, I see. So this is new to both of you.
Yes.
Eugene, is that the impression?
Well, yes. Well,
that this kind of thing is
with,
new.
No, with Katanga and Commonwealth, this is new.
Okay.
This is new because when they come to KNUSC, they come to Katanga Hall to disturb as we sit and watch them. When we also go to Legon, we also go there. So I think some few years past, maybe there has been some problem that they have not been able to rectify.
What do we know to be the problem, Eugene? What is it that could have triggered this kind of action?
On this specific issue, my information has been that members of Katanga have visited the University of Ghana campus for a program, and then it was alleged that some students from Commonwealth had physically assaulted one of the members from Katanga Hall. And in retaliation, they virtually kidnapped a member, someone they thought was from Commonwealth Hall, and sent him to Mensa Saba Hall and did what they did to him. It is important to understand that in these matters, it is easy to generalize and say that members of Katanga Hall are violent or vandals are hooligans. But these are halls that have thousands of students who are affiliated to them. The fact that 2 or 3 people engaged in activities or illegal stuff that we cannot even validate. For instance, the allegation that someone from Komoto slapped someone from Katanga, which in turn triggered this whole matter, cannot be validated. It could have
the police are still investigating.
Well, let's see what comes out. That is one
out
problem that I had from the beginning, because we have also been in contact with our boys to ask them what actually happened there. And the information they are giving and what we are hearing in the media, it's very different.
It's your side, their side, and the truth. So,
so now everything is in the hands of the police. So why don't we wait for the police to come out with what actually transpired? Automatically, the boy was taken to a room.
There's been a conversation earlier about the conversion of your respective male-dominated halls to a mixed hall. The last time it came up earlier this year was shut down. Is it a good time to go back to that conversation, Eugene?
Well, I first of all do not see the connection on university.
That if we have females among you, you'll be toned down. so to speak?
Oh, first of all, that's not necessarily. That's untrue. Because if you go to University of Ghana campus, where we have documentary evidence, video evidence of a student of Commonwealth Hall being attacked, and assaulted, you realize that it's a mixed hall. And for some time now, some of the clashes that have occurred between halls, like for instance, Commonwealth Hall and Mensa Saba Hall, Mensa Saba Hall is a mixed hall. So where then lies the argument? If you spend some time in University of Ghana campus, for instance, you would appreciate that even in halls like a careful hall, there are what you might call behavior or organizations that are similar to the type that you find in all male halls. So first, it's a non-issue.
We'll wrap up. Gideon, so is it that the conversion is not necessarily the panacea, or that is the university campus that breeds this unknowingly?
Okay, with the issue of KNUST, Katanga Hall, the conversion, the Vice Chancellor gave reasons why they want to convert, and it has nothing to do with clashes among students. Because they know, even among the females, there are clashes. Just because you don't hear it in the news. His reason is, majority of the first year female students who come on campus are vulnerable off campus, because in KNUST, it is in, out, out, out. So first year you enjoy the traditional hall, then after that you are on your own. You're on your own. And he said, even the first years, they admit more than the halls can contain. So it means you have a lot of them vulnerable outside to rape.
I'm looking for what will stop this violence. Finally, what will stop this violence?
Well, like I said,
30 seconds. What will stop it?
Well, like I said, conflicts are a societal issue. We can only see how we can
solve it.
No, with specific reference to the university campuses, we have to understand that these are young, energetic people.
So we must encourage them.
No, we must not. We must not. In instances like this, the investigations must be thorough, and the people responsible must be punished. But more importantly, we have to look at.
We need to go.
We have to look at things like healthy competitions, promoting sports, promoting hackathons, encouraging them to solve national problems.
We as Katanga, we are able to identify certain things that we can do.
Thank you.
I think the alumni is highly involved now, since it can stop. So we will be going home.
I thank you very much, Gideon Yeboah Amwening. He's a former executive of Katanga, and also Eugene Kweku Boydu. He's a former executive of Commonwealth Hall. We're trying to find a panacea to solving this, but the gentlemen think that, well, this is okay. Yao Fusulabi is up next with sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back. His name is MC Dementor. He is a Colombian artist. He wants to be president of his country one day, and he has a lot of love for Ghana. MC, welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
Very, very good.
Where from this door? What's that?
Oh, it's my Moisha.
That's your what?
My Moisha.
Your Moisha?
Yeah.
Are you sponsoring her?
Yeah.
I see.
I spoke a lot of the social networks.
Right.
I want to marry her.
You want to marry Moisha?
Yeah.
Have you spoken with her?
I haven't spoken. He's ignoring my message and my post. So I bring her as a doll to keep her every time with me to all the things we should do as a couple.
She has her demands: rent, a car, take care of her. Are you ready to do that? Do you have the money?
I'm ready. I have the money for do that. But I don't want for people saying about her. I want her to go to the library. Go to prepare tea, read a book together, go to the park and enjoy the sun. Not for what people is thinking.
Christina Amanpour interviewed her at the CNN, and it's come with a lot of backlash for her.
Yes.
Amanpour has been at her defense recently. What do you think? All what is happening, what do you think about it?
I think this kind of things that happen or what she comment will cause controversy. Some people will support and some people will dislike. So it's normal the kind of comments she's receiving. But also there are comments of supporting, and also I saw she apologized in the social networks.
So you like her for who she is, not for what she says?
Exactly, for who she is. A beautiful Ghanaian woman.
Not for what she says. But you're comfortable that she would hang out or sleep with people's husbands just to make ends meet. You support that?
I don't really support that. But maybe she was not hypocrite. So many women think like that. But she opened his heart in a very honestly way. So I like that. But I'm saying, I can spend all my money with her, but not for what people is thinking. For doing interesting things as a nice couple. Read the tea, read the newspaper, talk about interesting topics.
Do you want to have children with her?
Yeah.
Want to marry her?
Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
Yes.
You supported candidate, then President Mahama in 2016 election. Why? Where do you know him from?
Okay, I have traveled to Ghana like 3 or 4 times, and I have seen a lot of progress in the country during the times I went to Ghana. Important improvements in the infrastructure, important improvements in education, important improvements even in the quality of life of the people. So I love that, and my dream is be president of Colombia. That is my vision, be the president of Colombia. So he's my role model for be president of Colombia.
But he lost the 2016 election, heavily so. Never happened before in the political history of Ghana.
Okay.
You still think that he's your mentor and that you want to be like him?
Yeah.
You may just have one term.
I meet him.
Oh, you met him?
In the University of Harvard.
Ah, I see.
I meet him personality.
Okay.
I hear him talking about, the topics he's talking about, is the topics can make a country prosperous.
I see.
The topics about climatic change, topics about stability in the regions.
Okay.
So I think he's a model.
Were you disappointed when he lost the elections in 2016?
Yeah, disappointed.
Have you called him yet? Have you spoken with President Mahama?
I didn't call him. I find the opportunity to meet him in Boston, in Harvard.
Okay.
And I talked directly to him in the high room, the laws faculty of the University of Harvard. I expressed my opinion about his management of the country. So everyone, both people from both parties that was there inside the room, they begin to clap me, and I see. Wow.
He wants to contest again in 2020, hopefully. Do you support that vision that he should come back again?
Okay.
Do you want to see him as president of Ghana again?
Why not? Why not?
I see. Thank you very much for your. But I see you have a very interesting video with Stone Boy.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Okay, that video is called Langa Langa.
Langa Langa?
Yeah.
Why? Where from the title?
It's a common slang I hear on Ghana, Langa Langa. So
Okay.
we put as title of the song.
I see.
And so we put the Stone Boy and put the reggae dancehall artist Global Way Wonder.
MC Dementor, thank you very much. So that's your Moesha, you say?
Yeah.
Give her a peck, let's see. We'll be right back after this break.
Cell, to my best of knowledge, is a disease that one inherits from his or her parents.
It's a genetic kind of disease that either you're born with it or you're not born with it. We have SS that is purely sickled. When somebody comes with SS, that means the person is completely sickled. If it's AS, the person is a carrier. And then if the person gets to marry another AS, higher chances are that, or possibly 25%, that their child, one of their children will be sickled.
A sickle cell person is someone with not enough healthy red blood cells to carry enough blood around the body.
Heard of the name sickle cell, but I really don't know much about it. Yeah.
Well, I know sickle cell because I lost a friend in GSS3 through sickle cell, and recently one of my friends also was in the hospital for a full month. She missed a lot of classes and a lot of work hours because of sickle cell. But I think that it's something that should be treated properly. It's because it causes these people a lot of pain.
Welcome back. So you heard people out there sharing their views on what they think sickle cell is. But I have a professor in studio with me, and of course he's trained in that department to be able to help us understand a bit more about what the disease sickle cell is. I'm joined by Professor Ofori Aqua in studio. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Welcome to TV3.
Thank you very much.
So let's go to it and try and clarify and help viewers out there understand exactly what sickle cell disease is.
So sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder. And by that I mean we inherit it from our parents.
Okay.
It's what we call a recessive disorder, which means that you need to have 2 copies of the mutant gene in order for you to have the disease.
Okay.
There are actually 4 types of sickle cell disease. The most common one that most people know is the SS disease. This is where the child inherits the sickle mutation from mom and dad. Okay. If you inherit one sickle mutation from your mom and another mutant gene called hemoglobin C, you have what we call SC disease. So SC is also sickle cell disease. And then there is another type of sickle cell disease where you inherit one S gene from either mom or dad, and then you inherit something we call thalassemia. And so those patients are S thalassemia patients or S beta thalassemia patients. There's a little confusion because in thalassemia, they don't have a mutant structural hemoglobin gene. They have the normal hemoglobin A gene, but the gene is expressed at a very low level. And so you still have A, but that A is less than the S. And so whenever you have a test and the quantity of hemoglobin A is less than hemoglobin S, then you actually are not AS. And this is sometimes a confusion that is created by somebody who has a sickle cell test and they are told they are negative because it's negative for S. But then they may have a beta thalassemia mutation, which combined with sickle will give you S beta plus thalassemia. We say plus because you make a little bit of the beta globin gene, but there are mutations where you don't make any at all, and that is S beta 0. And so there really are 4 types of common sickle cell disease: SS, SC, S beta plus thalassemia, and S beta 0 thalassemia, and all of these are sickle cell disorders.
Well, you mentioned something very important, because over time people have been doing just the sickling test and not moving on to do further tests to clarify. So what are the other tests to be able to differentiate exactly what you have?
Right, so to do the sickle test, or what is done here, sickle dex or solubility, all that is telling you is that there's an S. You're making some hemoglobin S. That is not sufficient. You have to do hemoglobin electrophoresis. And there are several labs in Ghana here that can do that for you. So once you do hemoglobin electrophoresis, it will become abundantly clear if the amount of hemoglobin A you have is significantly lower than hemoglobin S. And that will alert the laboratorians and the physicians to do further investigations, and they can do what we call HPSC analysis to find out whether you have another variant, hemoglobin A2, which again, if it's slightly elevated, is an indication that you may have thalassemia.
Right. So let's talk about the symptoms. How will someone with sickle cell disease present?
Well, this is the difficulty. When a child is born that has sickle cell disease, outwardly, they look just like any other child. There isn't any physical mark that would, alert a parent that the child has sickle cell disease. They look just like any other child. So what can help, and this is something that we have been sort of drumming the beat to get government's attention. We should actually have a national program that will screen all babies born in this country for sickle cell disease, because out of every 50 live births in Ghana, 1 will have sickle cell disease. So it's such a high prevalence that a national program is really warranted. And so doing newborn screening will help identify. But in the absence of that, a parent with a bouncy, healthy baby that may have sickle cell disease, typically around, it's difficult to say, but in the early stages of their neonatal life, they may have pain. Sometimes their hand may swell in what we call dactylitis, and that could be a very first indication that they may have sickle cell disease. But they could have a lot of pain that may not truly be understood by the parents as to why they have it. So that is really the tragedy, that there isn't any, in the absence of a blood test, there isn't really any other way. A little baby can tell you they have a pain in their back or their legs, which adults are able to articulate. Kids can't do that.
So typically, what would be the underlying problem for the pain that they usually encounter with sickle cell?
So one of the major cellular anomalies of sickle cell disease is that the red cell, because of the mutant hemoglobin S, that forms polymers inside the red cell, it physically deforms the red cell. So the red cell takes on the so-called sickle shape. And not a lot of people are familiar with the farming instrument sickle, but it looks like a banana. And those banana-shaped cells are not able to easily flow through our blood vessels, and so they get blocked, and they block blood vessels. in what we call occlusion. Because it's in the vessel and it's an occlusion, the term vaso-occlusion is used very commonly to describe that phenomena. We believe the vaso-occlusion is what triggers the pain. And so typically in our field, we refer to the whole process as a vaso-occlusive pain crisis. And so the pain that patients get, we believe primarily is because the red cells are basically blocking, are rather blocked, and there's no blood flow. And what will ensue is that because there's no blood flow, then vital organs are deprived of blood and they become hypoxic, and that could actually lead to tissue damage.
Right. So, I mean, you talk about sickle cell disease, and someone out there is wondering, is there hope at all for my child or my relative who has sickle cell? What do we do about it?
Yes, I mean, there is a lot of hope. There are several patients with sickle cell disease who live full lives, become politicians, athletes, actors, lawyers, ethicists, hematologists. So it's a disorder that when managed well, the individual can live a full life with an excellent quality of life. Of course, the symptoms we describe and the complications that I talked about don't go away. They still get pain, they get anemia. But if they are identified early, and this is why it's so critical to really identify the babies when they are born. When babies are born and we know from the outset that they have sickle cell disease, and we put them on penicillin prophylaxis. We enroll them in clinics where specialists with years of experience looking after sickle cell patients are now caring for these children. They live full lives. In the United States, it's commonplace now that almost every child born with sickle cell disease will live up to 20. We expect them to live up to 20 and beyond. But obviously, they have pain. They have it disrupts schooling a little bit. But as I just mentioned, there are several sickle cell patients who, are making it in life.
But for a cure, we've heard about stem cell transplantation that is being practiced outside, and also bone marrow transplantation. Tell us a little about that.
So from the very beginning, I said that it's an inherited blood disorder. And so the disorder is in the blood. And what that means in simple terms is that we have about 25,000 to 30,000 genes in our body. Each gene is expressed in what we call in a tissue-specific manner. So there are some genes that are expressed in our white blood cells to fight infection. There are other genes that are expressed in our red blood cells, like hemoglobin. And so because the gene's primary site of activity is in blood cells, so then you can basically surmise that the blood cells are where the problem is. And so if you can remove all the stem cells of an individual who has blood cells through radiation, sort of kind of kill them off, and then transplant with bone marrow, that individual then can become cured.
Very well. So basically that is sickle cell anemia for you, but just also you have a base where you're delving more into sickle cell. Just a brief word about that quickly.
So briefly, what we are doing on Friday is launching a network of investigators. This is a network called Sickle-Gen Africa, and it's going to bring together scientists, physicians, ethicists, cardiologists. All of us are coming together with a 5-year project to understand the genetic basis for why some sickle cell patients are more severe than other sickle cell patients, and that is going to be launched at La Palm on Friday.
Very well, and I'm sure that will bring relief to so many sickle cell patients in Ghana. I have been speaking to Professor Ofori Akwa. He is the Dean of Biomedical and Allied Health Sciences at the University of Ghana Medical School, or University of Ghana, sorry, and he has been speaking to us about sickle cell disease, and I hope you learned a thing or two about it, and hopefully you have a relative or a friend who has it. You can be of help to them. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more here on TV3 New Day. Well, Vodafone Ghana, as always, has something interesting for you and I. They have a promotion, a unique one dubbed Payday to celebrate the 10th anniversary, and they're rewarding customers like yourself, myself, and everybody nationwide. But I have Victor Banaman Shadid, he's the head of products and services at Vodafone Ghana, to tell me more about this promotion. So Payday, Victor, where's my pay?
Well, all you need to do really is star 559# and you'll know where your pay is.
Right, so what is this promotion all about? Why Payday?
Payday because we are rewarding all our loyal customers. In fact, we're rewarding anyone that joins the network. So even if you're not on the network and you join today, you have a chance to accumulate points towards a reward system. Payday was something that we came up with because this is our 10th year of operation in Ghana, as operating as Vodafone Ghana. And we figured that this was a great time for us to find a way to engage customers and bring on new customers and reward them richly.
Nice. So tell us about the amazing prize customers stand to win.
So we've tiered the prize winnings. We start with every hour, 5 customers will win 10 CDs each.
Repeat that. Did you say every hour?
Every hour, 5 customers are winning 10 CDs. Every day, 3 customers are winning 500. Every week, 2 customers win 5,000. Every month, we have one 25,000 winner. At the end of the cycle, which is a 90-day promotion, you're going to have one northern sector, one southern sector prize winner, each getting 50,000, and a grand prize winner of 200,000 CDs.
This is all cash they're going home with.
All cash paid to you via Vodafone Cash.
Nice.
Which is running a super promo right now, actually. The voucher promo, which gives you as unlimited transactions on Vodafone for 3 CDs a month, actually. So, and those transactions also count towards points.
Nice.
So you should just dial star 110# and get on that
going.
too. Yeah.
But how will the winner be selected eventually?
So this is not a game of chance. Okay. This is about how much effort you put into things. Right. So the points accumulated are what we're using to reward people. Okay. So it's the people that have made the highest points. The nice thing is that everybody has a target for the day. Okay. You can check your target by dialing star 559# on your Vodafone line. If you achieve that target, all the points you make after the target, so let's say your target for today was 4 CDs, anything you spend after 4 CDs will give you 10 times as many points. So check your target and hit it.
Nice. Yeah. So who is eligible for the campaign, and is there any age restrictions?
As long as you're 18 and above, you're an active Vodafone customer, or you join Vodafone between now and the end of the promotion period, you're eligible to participate and win.
Okay. So how many points do I get when I engage in an activity?
We've designed it such that you get 1 point for every 10 pesos of spend, pretty much. Yes.
1 point for every 10
Yes, but there's certain
pesos.
activities that give you a little more. Okay. Airtime purchase, SMS, regular data usage, bundle purchase gives you a minimum spend of 10 pesos, attracts a point. Voice usage, integrated bundle, those are our X bundles, red, black bundles, gives you 2 points for 10 pesos. Wow. All Vodafone Cash transactions give you 2 points. New SIM and reactivated SIM, so those are people who may have to put their SIM aside. You know, by joining the network again, you get 5 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the points I get, if I don't want cash prizes, what else can I use those points for?
Well, when you dial star 559#, what we've done is we allow you to redeem the points for network rewards. Okay. So you can choose data, you can choose SMS, and voice.
Okay. Yeah. But I heard some customers, excluding myself, because probably I haven't heard too much about it, are winning already. Is that true?
Oh, from the day we started, we've had over 2,000 winners so far.
So how many days have you done already, and how many more to go?
I think we started on Good Friday.
Okay.
And so I think we're in the 3rd week now, meaning that we have roughly another 9 weeks to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not too late for customers to join?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So finally, now, I mean, if I go on to this payday, is there anything extra I get after even this payday promo ends as a Vodafone customer?
The thing is that throughout the year, because of our 10th anniversary celebration, we're going to be running many different promotions. Okay. So this coming week is the end of a promo that we're running before called Kesia, where we're giving somebody 100,000 CDs. So there are a lot more exciting things to come. So just stay tuned. Make sure you either get on the network or reactivate your SIM. Be active. You're bound to win something with us.
So when will this 10th anniversary celebration be climaxed?
Well,
it's yet to come.
It's yet to come.
Anyway, is there anything else from Vodafone that we have to know?
We're a great network. We really care about customers. And I believe that we embody our tagline, the future is exciting, ready. And we want you to be on board with us and explore your future.
Very well. So I have been speaking to Victor Bannerman Shadidi, he's the head of products and services at Vodafone Ghana. He has been talking to us about Vodafone Payday, which is a unique promo to reward its members for this 10th anniversary celebration. He says there's still about 9 weeks more to go, so certainly do join the bandwagon and enjoy what they have. But Johnny is standing by with comments.
Of course, and this one's just got my attention. I don't know what it is, if it's like a rifle or a sniper's rifle, or if it's a... What do you see, Amma? I see a red thing there.
Yes, I see a warning sign, like don't trespass, don't go there. But I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Well, Chief, you want to take a guess?
It's actually a machine gun. Or a sniper rifle. You can see the scope at the top, maybe silenced at the front. Yeah, a little scary.
I see the makeup and everything.
Well, we don't have TV3 Payday, otherwise he would have won that competition right there.
Interesting. Then, as I said earlier, it's the birthday of a sweet, lovely lady, Liz Lorna. She's 11 years today. Liz Lorna Finn Walker, daughter of Babina Finn Walker, 11 years today. And if it's your birthday as well, happy birthday to you. Make sure that you're training. It's also the birthday of this man, the originator of what they call the Adonko meters. We're grateful. A happy birthday to you as well. And we'll do some more comments as we wrap up. But let's check out if Tilapia has anything to show on this very great occasion. If Tilapia has anything to show. Okay, so Tilapia is here. It came through. Corruption for the where. How dare they report me to Special Kwesi Peter? Who is Special Kwesi Peter?
Prosecutor.
Special. So what he's doing? Well, I trust my leg on the buses. New Metro.
He's chucked the bus.
He's chucked the bus.
And he's
Tilapia is such a bad boy, isn't he?
Yes. But Bright has gone out to look for Babina's daughter's ice cream, because I hear he's calling the ice cream companies to make wholesale, you know.
This young lady, but Christina Mampo has been hitting back at Ghanaians for condemning Moesha. I don't know why Christina Mampo seems to suggest anyway that Moesha, it will not be safe for Moesha to return home to Ghana. I think that's populist and shamelessly ridiculous to even think that. I mean, you express a comment, somebody expresses an opinion about your comment, and you think that, well,
that's it.
I mean,
I think this is a platform to make it clear that in Ghana we don't delve into such pettiness. I mean, everyone has their opinion, and so you're allowed to air your view. And after that, it really ends there. It's just the fact that we know that you're allowed to be able to speak, and when you do so, there's no fear or panic.
It's not. She's not condemning Ghanaians for. What she's worried about is that she thought Ghana was that country that press freedom. People have the liberty to speak.
Exactly.
And she says that from what is happening, it looks like it's the other way around.
Well, no,
But I stand to differ because
you see,
I don't think it's
Moesha,
different.
and I've always said that, look, Ebony sang about sponsor. She said, I've got myself a sponsor.
She personalized.
Moesha generalizing tended to speak for everybody. That's how come she got the bashing. But
Johnny, she did not generalize.
I think at the end of the day,
must know.
She believes there's freedom in Ghana, and there rightly is freedom, and that's why Moesha was able to speak, and other Ghanaians were also able to
must know that before Moesha made the statement to her, she had previously made it on several other Ghanaian media platforms, and not a single harm came to her.
Exactly.
To suggest that she discovered this revelation is first not true. Number two, to think that any harm will come to Moesha if she returns to Ghana is not true. We're decent people. This whole framing and agenda setting and asylum intentions,
she didn't say
please
anything like
forgive
that.
us.
I think what she's saying is that, and you see, don't let anybody create the impression that Moesha spoke on behalf of Ghana. She said she's a mistress So she's speaking on behalf of mistress.
That was the follow-up question.
So
she said in Ghana.
She's one woman. So what she says in women.
She said in Ghana.
Women.
Yes, Ghana women.
Speaking as a mistress.
The follow-up was the mistress. If there was no follow-up, how would I have known the mistress?
Vice Sister, wasn't exactly what was said in the video. But anyway, guys,
it is her life. What she decides to do it, it's her life.
Those who are offended,
nobody elected a PRO over sisters and
mistresses.
Anyway, guys, it's beautiful Wednesday. We'll see you same time tomorrow, where Bright takes his weekend, and we gradually get you into the weekend as well. We'll see you same time tomorrow.
Play the song. I want to dance for Amampo.
To which song?